Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to take you along as we declutter my home together. And a few weeks ago I took you along as we decluttered my wardrobe, and I have to say I just love that feeling of having a newly decluttered space that's filled with only things that are currently adding value to my life. So today I want to take you along as we declutter the rest of my home, and I want to evaluate with you guys whether or not the things that I own are still adding value to my life, if I'm still using them, or if perhaps their use or value that they provide to me has declined and it's maybe time to let go of them. So I'm super excited to get into this, but before we do, if we don't know each other yet, hi, my name is Ashlynne, and I make videos every week on this channel about minimalism, intentional living, and decluttering. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, but let's get into this. Okay, so this is item number one that we're going to be decluttering, and this is this orchid that has seen better days. As I was picking it up, this guy dropped off. I think I've now had it for about 3 months, and I think they're only supposed to last like 2, so this guy has definitely seen better days, and I think it's time to let go of it. I love plants, and it makes me sad to let go of them sometimes, but sometimes it's important to know when to move on. I think the same thing goes for these two little guys. I don't know what it is. I cannot keep succulents alive for the life of me, and they are completely shriveled up. I might try, this one looks like it has some roots growing from it, so I might try seeing if I can save it and restart a new succulent plant, but these ones are just shriveling up and looking kind of gross right now. I think we're going to be adding these guys to the plants to declutter pile. Okay, you guys have probably seen these before. These were 2 crates that we actually used to use as bedside tables before we got a small bed frame for our bed. After that, they were just too short really to continue to use. You have probably seen the bedside tables behind us that we've been using instead, and honestly they're just a lot more functional than this ever was because it has a small drawer that we can put things like chapstick and such in. So just not as practical, don't really fit our needs anymore, so going to be decluttering these as well. Okay, next up, sorry for the echo in here, next up we're going to declutter a few pieces of makeup, and the main incentive for this, I have pretty well refined what makeup I have at this point, but I recently received a new package, which I paid for and everything, from Elite Cosmetics, which is refills of a few items that I had run out of or for whatever reason needed to replace. So I'm just gonna open this guy right here. So I have the brow balm and a refill of my eyeshadow palette as well. If you'd seen my makeup collection, you would know this, but my eyeshadow is pretty much empty, and so the really cool thing about Elite is that once these things are empty, I'm gonna try to use these tweezers to get it out. Perfect, that worked well. So they come in these little metal refillable cartridges. So this one is out, and I just ordered its replacement. Comes in this cool little seed packaging, and pop that in. Now I've got a brand new eyeshadow palette, so that's fantastic. And then the same thing goes for my brow balm, which actually this one does have a little bit of life left in it, probably a couple more weeks, so I'll probably wait to declutter that one until it runs out completely, and then I will throw in the brow balm replacement. It's looking good, a fresh pack. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to be decluttering from here is I have this e.l.f. brow brush, which I really like the style of, but the quality on these things kind of reflects the price. It's only $3, and they never really last for more than a year for me. So I recently had this break, and even when I try to glue it back together, it just keeps breaking. So I am going to be getting rid of this guy, and then from Elite as well, I ordered its replacement, and it really is my perfect just brow tool with a little brush on one side and then a spoolie on the other side so I can put everything into place. So really happy with this guy and the addition to my makeup collection. I think that's good on makeup. Other than that though, I have a very minimal makeup collection. It all fits in here. So I think we're good on that. Let's continue to the other spots. Okay, so down here is where Christopher and I keep most of our bathroom toiletries that aren't in this drawer here, my makeup and his, I guess, like deodorant and things like that. And so I'm just going to give this a quick look. Usually it is refills of the shampoo and kind of bathroom products we use normally, but I'm going to give this a quick look through to see if there's anything here that might be excess or just not being used by us. Let's see what we find. Okay, not going to be decluttering too much from there. Most of the stuff you just saw are things like hair products that Christopher uses, refills of things that we actively use. So for example, I'm almost out of my night cream, so I have a refill of that for whenever it runs out. I usually like to have at least one backup on hand so that if we run out, we don't have a period when we don't have anything on hand. But that being said, there are a few things we're going to be decluttering. First off is this comb. We just have a couple of combs. I have a wood one that I use regularly, and then Christopher has a black one that was down here already. So we're just going to be getting rid of this purple one. We also have this, I think it's a hair perfume that I was given a while back, and while I do love the regular C perfume and I do wear that, hair perfume just isn't really my thing and I've never really worn it, so I'm going to be letting that go. I have this nail polish that I love the color of, but it's kind of getting a little bit dry and cakey and goopy, which is no fun to try putting on your nails. It's also close to being empty, so I'll be decluttering that as well. And then finally just have this little empty bottle that was from a perfume that I got years and years ago in France. I think it's time to let this guy go. And then I have a few other things that I've kind of put aside that I want to talk to Christopher about decluttering, but obviously I'm not going to make any decluttering decisions for him. So we'll leave those ones to let him make the decision on. But those are items that I know I personally can make the decision on, so we'll be letting go of those. So we actually got rid of quite a few items from that area. Let me show you really quickly. First off is this little toothbrush head. Christopher and I actually have full length plastic toothbrush kind of protectors, which I prefer traveling with versus just kind of like this one that I believe my bamboo toothbrush doesn't actually fit in the holder for this. So yeah, going to be getting rid of this guy. We have this travel size sunscreen, which is really, really white when you put it on. It kind of gives you this ghostly glow, which I'm personally not a big fan of. I got thinking it would be this really nice natural sunscreen that I could use when we travel. That didn't work out the way that I was expecting. I have this extra, I guess, little cloth bag, which I personally am probably never going to use. I think I might have used it once when traveling, but I'm guessing that it just came with something and I kept around thinking I'd use it, but I just have other reusable bags that I prefer using for traveling. I have just one of these extra little containers. We do use some of them and we'll refill them when traveling, but I think that this is just one more than we need. The fact that it's never been used leads me to believe we never will use it. So getting rid of that. And then these are some spare pieces to a watch I no longer own, so don't need this anymore. Okay, I think at this point the bathroom is looking pretty good. Next up, I want to tackle some paper clutter that we've had building up in our chest over the past few years. It's where we keep a lot of our paperwork, but I'm pretty sure I can go through and reduce that amount because I've kind of just kept everything without considering if we actually need it, and I have a sneaky suspicion we don't need the majority of it. So let's do that next. Feeling really good about that part of the declutter. We were able to get rid of a lot of the files that we just don't need and keep only what is actually necessary for record keeping purposes. I don't like paper clutter any more than the next person and probably less than most, so it felt great to be able to just get rid of things that either were too old and we no longer needed them, or just were excess, like the front page of an important document, things like that. And so we are able to simplify in that way, feeling really good about it, and we'll be disposing of this stuff appropriately. Okay, so this is actually a pretty big declutter for me. This is something that I have been putting off forever, while knowing in my heart that I needed to do it. I have this lovely spice rack that I use several of the spices on, a little bit more than half. And I've owned this for, I guess, since Christopher and I got married. It was a wedding gift. But there are certain spices on here that I just never use. And because I liked the fact that they were all nicely labeled on the top, I just always had a hard time letting go of them because it felt like it was going to be an incomplete set. Finally, after thinking about it, I've decided that I'm going to see what I can do to maybe remove the labels off of these guys so that I can just basically fill it with the spices that I actually use and the herbs that I actually use on a regular basis, rather than the ones that some companies said that I should own and use. So these are all ones that I use pretty regularly, but these ones, I guess there's 6 of them, like coriander, crushed mint, fennel, they're just not spices that I personally cook with. And so I'm going to be getting rid of these, and then I'll show you guys in here. And in their place, I'm going to be basically emptying out these, washing them out, and then filling them with things that I actually use, like ground cinnamon or ground ginger. I'm really proud of myself for finally coming to this decision. And then I think what's going to happen is, if I can't get these labels off, I might actually just get rid of the holder entirely and just put these kind of sideways in my drawer that has the other spices in it, just so that I can have everything in one place. I mean, the drawer doesn't have that much in it, so there's definitely room for all those spices, but I feel like it would be just so much more practical to have everything in one place and just to finally get rid of the things that I know that I'm never going to use. I don't know if you guys caught it, I think it was the fennel. The smell of fennel just makes me absolutely sick. So I know that I'm never going to use it. Honestly, this one has been a very long time coming, so glad we're finally doing this. Okay, just like with the spices, I was probably long overdue for a little tea declutter as well. What you guys just saw was essentially our warm drinks shelves. So we have 2 shelves that are dedicated to tea, coffee, and hot chocolate. But that being said, there were definitely a few things in there that we didn't need, and other things that I was able to either condense or remove. So first off, we had this lovely bag that was holding some tea refills for a few kinds of tea that I had run out of. Obviously, I don't need the bag, so I was able to just take the refills out and get rid of this guy. This is some coffee that I believe we've had for around 3 years, and I know that coffee beans do not last forever. So I'm going to check the expiration date, but I have a strong feeling that this is well past when the coffee beans would have expired. This is just an empty tea carton. I have some containers that I prefer using, and so this was a refill that came in a nice little metal container, and I'll see if there's a repurposing use for it, but in its current form, not going to be used anymore. And then just a couple of teas that I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm going to try passing on. This is a birthday cake tea, which, to be honest, I did love when I first got it, and it can be seen like I've had about half of the tea, but it really is extremely, extremely sweet. So I just have a hard time actually like reaching for it to drink. So I think I'm gonna try passing this on to someone who likes it. And then I'm not a big fruity tea fan either. There are a few flavors that I like, but this is a winter fruit blend. Once again, I think this was given to me. So I think I'm just gonna pass it on to somebody who will enjoy it more than me. Just had some extra mulling spices, and I already had 2 little cartons of it, so I just didn't think I needed 3. Felt like that was definitely excess, and I'm probably going to try combining the other 2 later, but didn't want to try filming that process because it would probably be messy. And then no idea what this was doing in there, but this is a foot scrub, and I am not the type of person who really does foot pampers all that often. So maybe I'll try using that up and then just getting rid of it. I don't like the feeling of things going to waste, so try to use that up, but on the whole, these are just things that I felt like I either had excess of or wasn't going to use them, so it was time to let go of them. Okay, well, I think we're going to end this one here. I'm feeling really good about everything that we decluttered. Honestly, it might not seem a lot, but for someone who keeps a fairly minimal home, this is actually a massive declutter for me. I think we're going to be decluttering over 30, maybe 40 items, so that's pretty huge. I'm feeling really excited and just glad that I had the courage to kind of power through some of those areas like the spices and like the tea that I've kind of been holding off on decluttering for a while. So feeling really good about it. I hope this video gave you some motivation or inspiration to declutter your own home. And if you're in the process of decluttering your life right now, be sure to check out my ebook, The Simple Guide to Decluttering Your Home. It really is a step-by-step guide that's going to give you ideas and inspiration for what to declutter, as well as how to decide what's worth keeping and what isn't, how to maintain a minimal home afterwards. And in it, I share some of my top tips for starting the decluttering process in a way that can help you to finish in weeks, not months or years. So if you're in the process of decluttering your home, I really think that you're going to love it. I'll have all the information about it linked up in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit that subscribe button below for more minimalism, decluttering, and intentional living content coming at you twice a week. I love you guys all so much though. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.